In today's video, we're going to be talking about training youth athletes, that is, athletes below the age of 18 years. Let's take a moment and travel to the vibrant heart of India. Imagine the colorful streets of Jaipur or the bustling lanes of Kolkata. Right amidst this everyday tapestry, a group of children playing gully cricket, football, or even hide and seek. This scene might feel quintessential and nostalgic to many of us, capturing the very essence of our childhoods. In India, the streets, the fields, and the alleys aren't just thoroughfares, they are our first training grounds. From a very young age, we're introduced to the world of sports, often by our peers or family members. But as with everything else in our rich and diverse culture, there's more than what meets the eye. India, in its vast expanse, is a tapestry of traditions, and with traditions comes expectations. Our youth are often walking a tightrope, balancing societal expectations with their own dreams. In many Indian households, the age old debate continues about the importance of academics versus the pursuit of sporting excellence. And let's be real, for many parents, the emphasis often leans more towards the former. The narrative is usually about becoming an engineer, a doctor, or taking over the family business. While sport is revered and cricket almost attains a religion like stature, when it comes to personal choices for their children, parents might be a little apprehensive. They question the viability of sports as a full time career. And that's not because they undervalue sports, but perhaps because they overvalue security. When we talk about coaching in the Indian context, we're diving into an ecosystem that's deeply rooted in the familial ties and community connections. It's a framework where decisions are often collective and dreams are shared. For a young budding athlete, their first cheerleaders are their parents, siblings, or perhaps even an encouraging grandparent. Their first critics, often the same. As coaches, understanding these cultural intricacies isn't just an added advantage, it's absolutely a necessity. Coaching doesn't stop when the training session ends. Real coaching happens when we bridge the gap between the athlete's aspirations and their family's apprehensions. It's about turning those apprehensions into applause. To do this, engagement is the key. Think of it as extending the team spirit we instill on the field to the families. Regular parent coach meetups can be transformative. These aren't just sessions to discuss the athlete's progress, but an avenue to educate families about the world of sports. This is where we unveil the bigger picture, the panorama that stretches beyond the immediate game. We can lay out the vast spectrum of life skills sports imbue in an individual. The iron-willed discipline that has applications in every walks of life, the resilience that teaches them to bounce back from setbacks, not just in games but in life, and the unparalleled spirit of teamwork which fosters community and mutual respect. But words often need evidence, don't they? And what better evidence than stories? Not just the tales of our absolute high achievers such as Virat Kohli or PV Sindhu, but narratives of those unsung heroes who have leveraged their sports background in various domains. Maybe it's the former state level cricketer who is now a successful sports event manager, or the ex national swimmer turned renowned physiotherapist. These stories drive home a singular powerful message. Sports is not a detour from a successful life, it's a pathway to diverse avenues. In India, we often find ourselves at the crossroads of sports or studies, a dilemma faced by many young athletes and their families. But as we showcase the myriad possibilities and the harmony between sports and academics, our endeavor is to shift the narrative to sports and studies. The two aren't adversaries, they are allies, each enriching the other. While the sport might be played on the field, its real success is determined while away from it. It's in the homes of our athletes, in their dinner table conversations, in the dreams they share with their siblings before bedtime. To truly make an impact, we don't just need to be coaches, we need to be allies, mentors, and sometimes bridge builders. Because in this journey, we're not just shaping an athlete, we're molding a future, one dream at a time, reshaping cultural perspectives, and truly embodying the spirit of sportsmanship in all walks of life. Now let us pause for a moment. Imagine you're on a journey. If you were to traverse the vast and diverse terrains of India, Would you choose just one type of vehicle, say a bicycle for every route, from the sandy deserts of Rajasthan to the hilly tracks of Himachal? Or would you rather have a range of options, sometimes a sturdy SUV, occasionally a nimble bike, or even a serene boat ride in the backwaters? This analogy brings us to a fundamental crossroad in the realm of youth athletics, the debate between early specialization and diversification. Early specialization means choosing a specific sport and diving into its depths from a tender age. The advantages? Well, it's much like dedicating yourself to a musical instrument. The early bird, as they say, gets the worm. The sooner you begin, the more hours you commit, the closer you inch towards perfection. It's no wonder that many of our iconic figures in disciplines such as gymnastics and figure skating embark on their athletic journey quite early. Their captivating performance, which leaves us in awe, stems from a fusion of youthful exuberance and laser focused training. Every flip or jump we applaud is the result of years, sometimes even a decade of unrelenting practice. However, as with most things in life, there's another side to this coin. Imagine for a moment that you play a soul stirring piece on a violin. The first time, it's magic. The 10th time, it's familiar and comforting. But what about the 100th time? That melody, once sweet, can begin to sound quite monotonous. This is the risk of early specialization. Too much of the same thing too soon can lead to both physical and mental fatigue. Athletes might face overuse injuries, having put the same set of muscles to work relentlessly. Mentally, the joy and passion once associated with the sport can wane, replaced by a sense of obligation or even dread. As with our violin piece, what started as a passionate pursuit can slowly transform into a repetitive chore. So, while early specialization propels some athletes to dizzying heights, it's essential to remain attuned to the individual's journey. Recognizing the signs of burnout and addressing them timely can ensure that the melody of their sport remains evergreen, never losing its original charm. Diversification, on the other hand, encourages young athletes to engage in multiple sports. This approach allows them to identify where their true interests and potential strengths lie. By participating in a range of activities, they develop a comprehensive skill set of motor skills, enhancing their physical agility and adaptability. This varied exposure also significantly reduces the risk of overuse injuries that might occur from repeatedly exerting the same group of muscles. Moreover, being involved in different sports during their developmental years can have long term benefits. Many successful athletes worldwide started playing sports at a young age, and not just one sport but multiple ones. These experiences provide them with a breadth of skills that later connect and channel into their primary sport, elevating their performance and setting them apart from all their peers. For instance, it's observed that elite cricketers, even though cricket is their primary sport, displayed exceptional skills in other games like badminton or table tennis. Their previous exposure to different sports during their younger days contributes to this versatility. This debate between early specialization and diversification brings us to the crucial decision point. Which route should an aspiring athlete take? Well, the answer, quite honestly, isn't a straightforward formula. Just as every individual is unique, so too is their athletic journey. The optimal path can hinge on various factors. Some youngsters have a natural affinity for a particular sport and show unwavering dedication from the get go. For them, early specialization might feel organic as well as rewarding. Certain sports, given their competitive landscape and skill requirements, may demand focused attention from an early age. Gymnastics, for example, often necessitates early training to master intricate routines. Contrastingly, team sports like football or cricket might be more forgiving, allowing athletes to dabble in other disciplines before committing wholeheartedly. Is the goal to pursue a sport professionally, or is it more for a recreational pursuit? The answer can significantly influence the decision. Aiming for elite levels might require more specialized training, while playing for fun or health can afford a more diversified approach. For those guiding these young talents, coaches, mentors, and parents, the responsibility is immense. It's not just about training sessions, drills, or matches, It's about observing, understanding, and responding to the athlete's evolving needs and sentiments. Telltale signs like frequent fatigue, dwindling enthusiasm, or recurring injuries shouldn't be brushed off as mere phases. These could be red flags indicating that the young athlete might be feeling pigeonholed or even overwhelmed. At such junctures, introducing them to a new sport or activity can act as a breath of fresh air. This change in pace and environment can rekindle their love for sports, offering them a mental and physical break, and even endow them with skills and tactics they hadn't previously encountered. Physical maturity and development in young athletes is an intricate journey layered with various phases and nuances. One of the most noticeable phases is the growth spurt, predominantly seen during pre-adolescence and adolescence. These spurts are characterized by periods of swift skeletal growth that can span several months. As fascinating as this rapid growth might be, it presents its set of challenges. For instance, during these spurts, young athletes often grapple with coordination issues. Their bodies are growing, but their motor skills might lag, leading to moments of uncoordinated movements. This necessitates a re-evaluation of training programs, perhaps scaling back on high-impact activities temporarily or recalibrating techniques to accommodate their evolving physique. Between the ages of 14 and 18, the body undergoes a pivotal phase of muscular development. Triggered primarily by hormonal shifts, especially the spike in testosterone and estrogen, there is a pronounced alteration in muscle size and density. The ramifications for coaches are manifold. It requires the careful restructuring of training regimens. As these young athletes' muscles evolve, the efficacy of introducing progressive resistance becomes more paramount. This form of training, while methodically ramping up resistance, places immense importance on maintaining the correct technique to optimize gains and at the same time reduce injury risk. Additionally, as muscles grow and naturally tighten, it's indispensable to weave in flexibility exercises. Ensuring a full range of motion is maintained not only aids in performance but also adds as a preventive measure against potential muscle strains and injuries. Parallel to muscle development, the skeletal system is charting its growth trajectory. Throughout the teenage years, athletes will witness their bones not just growing in length but also density. This culminates in peak bone mass around the early 20s. The implications for those involved in high impact sports where the skeletal system is constantly under duress are profound. It becomes a matter of priority to champion bone health. This extends beyond just training adjustments to encompass dietary interventions where the spotlight shines brightly on calcium and vitamin D, the building blocks for strong bones. Beyond the visible changes, hormone plays a profound, often underappreciated role during puberty. These aren't just architects of physical development, they are influential conductors of emotional and psychological well being. Hormones like testosterone and estrogen don't operate in isolation. Their fluctuations shape moods, dictate energy reserves, influence quality of sleep, and even modulate appetite. For coaches and trainers, understanding the hormonal milieu is instrumental. It's about calibrating training plans in sync with an athlete's hormonal landscape. This delicate balance ensures athletes are pushed to their potential while also allowing ample space for recovery and rejuvenation. As we talked about growth, the overarching theme of adaptability and resilience in young athletes can't be understated. Their physiological systems, especially the cardiovascular framework, evolve to handle increased training loads, resulting in enhanced stamina. But herein lies a critical juncture. This heightened capacity, while empowering, also introduces the risk of overextension. The fine line between harnessing this power and succumbing to overtraining is razor thin. Constant vigilance is key. Trainers and coaches need to be astute observers, looking out for warning signs such as persistent fatigue, mood swings, or a sudden dip in performance. The goal remains clear: to cultivate their passion while safeguarding their physical and emotional well being. Now, when we talk about age and stage, understanding the journey of an athlete is a bit like following the chapters of a book. Each age corresponds to a specific stage, and while there might be common markers, each athlete's story is unique. Age at its core is not just a chronological marker, It's a compass that provides direction in the intricate maze of athletic development. Let's delve deeper into why age is more than just a simple number when it comes to our young athletes. When we utter the word age, often we are referring to more than just the chronological numbers of years someone has been alive. It embodies a multifaceted tapestry of physiological, psychological, and even sociocultural development. In the realm of sports and training, understanding these nuances is paramount. Consider the spirited 10-year-old entering the training ground. Their world is one of curiosity, exploration, and a thirst to dip their toes in various waters. Their energy levels seem inexhaustible, mirroring their desire to embrace a spectrum of activities. They're not just playing cricket or basketball, they're adventuring into the vast world of sports, keen to discover, learn, and above all, enjoy. Contrast this with a 17-year-old athlete. By this age, they might have discovered their sporting passion and are possibly on a clear trajectory towards mastering it. Their training sessions are more intense, characterized by a meticulous effort on refining techniques, understanding game strategies, and enhancing specific skill sets. Their approach is less about breadth and more about depth. They're not just playing a sport, they're nurturing a potential career, crafting their identity as an athlete. For us, as trainers and coaches, these age related nuances present both a challenge and an opportunity. Our role evolves from being facilitators of exploration for the young athletes to becoming more specialized mentors for the older ones. Recognizing age driven inclinations is the first step. For the younger lot, our training modules should be diverse, fostering a sense of fun while building foundational skills. The goal here isn't to produce experts but to nurture an appreciation for sports, ensuring holistic development. Conversely, with older athletes, our approach must be more tailored. Here, it's about honing specific strengths, identifying and working on weaknesses, and preparing them for competitive scenarios. It's about in depth guidance, helping them transition from the enthusiastic participants to dedicated professionals. In essence, age in the context of training isn't a linear progression, it's a dynamic journey with its unique phases and requirements. As trainers, our true success lies in recognizing these phases, adapting our strategies, and ensuring that every athlete, irrespective of their age, is given the right tools, guidance, and environment to thrive. Early childhood, for instance, is a jubilant time of exploration. Envision little ones skipping, hopping, or chasing a ball. At this age, their bodies are assimilating to various movements, jumping, balancing, or just the sheer joy of running. Our training during this phase should channel their intrinsic curiosity. Instead of rigorous sessions, think about structured fun like obstacle courses, relays, races, or tag games. These aren't just merely child's play. They're essential lessons in agility, balance, and coordination, seamlessly teaching diverse movement patterns in a fun filled way. As we transition into adolescence, the dynamic now shifts. We witness emerging strength, speed, and even stamina. But intertwined with this physical transformation is the hormonal influx, introducing emotional waves and psychological nuances. But intertwined with these physical transformations is the hormonal influx, introducing emotional waves and psychological nuances. Adolescents are balancing on the precipice of adulthood, trying to grapple with their identity and the implications of their burgeoning self worth. It's here that structured strength and conditioning finds a central role. Introducing them to bodyweight exercises such as squats, push ups, and lunges can be very beneficial. As their confidence solidifies, the gradual introduction to light resistance training with bands or lightweight dumbbells can be integrated, always underlying the importance of technique over weight. The cornerstone, communication. For the vibrant young, it's about making training a delightful experience. For the more mature adolescents, it's about understanding a willingness to listen to their dreams, apprehensions, and even ambitions, guiding them not just as budding athletes but as emerging adults ready to take on the world. Through strength and conditioning, we're doing more than shaping athletic prowess. We're cultivating well rounded individuals, understanding the deep interplay of age and its developmental intricacies. When navigating the intricate world of strength and conditioning, especially with the youth, we must appreciate that age and developmental stages are just foundational roadmaps. They provide broad strokes, but the beauty and the challenge lie in the intricate details of individual variations. Take Two 13-year-olds, for example. At a glance, they share an age bracket, perhaps even similar external features. However, their physiological makeup and emotional landscapes can diverge significantly. While chronological age categorizes them similarly, their biological age, which refers to their physiological and developmental maturity, might tell a whole different story. Consider this scenario. One 13-year-old might have experienced an early growth spurt, demonstrating enhanced muscle mass, strength, and cardiovascular capabilities, akin to someone a couple of years older. Their training thus could involve more advanced resistance training protocols, utilizing compound movements such as deadlifts, bench press, or squats with appropriate weights can be considered. With careful progression, even plyometric exercises which target explosive power could be integrated. On the other side of the spectrum, the other 13-year-old might still be on the threshold of their growth spurt. Their body is still unraveling the secrets of advanced coordination and strength. For them, diving deep into intensive weight training might be premature. Instead, a diversified approach would be fruitful. This could encompass foundational bodyweight exercises, functional movement drills, and activities that enhance agility and balance. Stability exercises like those involving balance balls or wobble boards can be excellent tools. Beyond the physical, their emotional and psychological states also carry weight. It's essential to discern their confidence levels, motivation, and any potential stressors or pressures. Some might relish challenges, while others might need constant encouragement and reassurance. In strength and conditioning, one of our most critical tools is observation paired with open communication. The cues might not always be overt, sometimes they are subtle hints, a slight hesitation, a wavering gaze, or even an overly enthusiastic approach that might signal overcompensation. By understanding these signals and having continuous dialogue, we can truly tailor our training to suit individual needs, crafting a path that's not just about physical excellence but holistic development. In today's high-paced, achievement-driven environment, there's a palpable urgency to be the best. This sentiment, while motivating for some, can be a double-edged sword, especially for young athletes. The hurry to be ahead can sometimes overshadow the foundational tenet of strength and conditioning, that is, progressive development. When we think about young athletes, it's tempting to classify them by age. Oh, both are 12, they should be lifting the same weights or running the same distance, one might think. But here's where things get a little tricky. Two athletes of the same age can be very different phases in their physical and emotional maturity. One might have the muscle development and coordination of a 14-year-old, while the other might be grappling with the changes that come with growth spurts. Pushing both these athletes with the same intensity can spell trouble. For the one who's advanced, the regimen might be spot on, but for the other, it could be overwhelming, leading to strains, sprains, or even worse, stress fractures and chronic conditions. The principles of strength and conditioning revolve around gradual progression. For example, before introducing heavy weights, mastery in bodyweight exercises like push-ups, squats, lunges is absolutely crucial. Only once they show consistent form and stability should weights be added. Beyond physical injuries, there's an emotional aspect to consider. Forcing an athlete to constantly compete and keep up, even when they're not ready, can sap their enthusiasm. We have seen instances where bright prospects, brimming with potential, just lost their zeal due to relentless pressure. Their narrative shifts from "I love the sport" to "I have to do it." For strength and conditioning coaches, our role extends beyond just physical training. We're also gatekeepers of mental and emotional well-being. Regular check-ins, open dialogues about how they feel, and tailoring programs to individual needs rather than age brackets can make all the difference in the world. By doing this, we cultivate an environment that nurtures growth at the athlete's pace, ensuring longevity and a sustainable passion for the sport. While competition is innate to sports, the race to the top should never compromise the holistic well-being of our young athletes. They're not just numbers or age categories, they're individuals, each with their own unique journey and pace. Long-term athletic development emphasizes a systematic phased training approach, ensuring athletes receive the right training, competition, and recovery in a sequence aligned with their development age rather than their chronological age. The journey begins in the early years, where the focus is primarily on cultivating physical literacy. This stage introduces children to a range of movements, from the basic to the complex. It's not about specialization, but rather about creating a broad base from which an athlete can grow as they mature. Activities center around bodyweight exercises, basic agility drills, and uncomplicated coordination tasks. As these athletes transition into adolescence, their training becomes more structured. Hormonal surges of puberty provide an added advantage, driving growth and strength. At this stage, strength and conditioning professionals adapt programs to be more targeted. Resistance training enters the fold, often starting with bands and free weights with an unwavering emphasis on correct technique. Plyometrics and sport-specific drills also become integral, leveraging the foundational skills developed in the previous phase. Regimens might incorporate high-intensity interval training, sport-specific resistance exercises, and sophisticated mobility drills. It becomes a period of refining and perfecting skills, preparing the athlete for elite levels of competition. However, a fundamental tenet of the long-term athletic development is recognizing the individuality of each athlete. Development isn't uniform. Some athletes might be ready for certain training modalities earlier than their peers, while others benefit from a more prolonged exploratory phase. As trainers and coaches, our responsibility is to discern these nuances, tailoring our approach to each athlete's unique timeline. It's about ensuring that at every developmental stage, we are creating an environment that prioritizes growth, skill acquisition, and the athlete's overall well being. The ultimate objective is to nurture these athletes so they can achieve their full potential, not just in the short term but throughout their athletic careers. When it comes to the development of athletes, especially in the realm of strength and conditioning, the debate of nature versus nurture has always been at the forefront. Let's dive into these concepts and see how they can influence our approach to training young athletes. Let's begin by dissecting the concept of nature as it pertains to athletic potential. At its core, nature revolves around the genetic blueprint that every individual inherits from their parents. Think of it as a starting kit in the complex puzzle of human physiology and capability. Now, within this genetic makeup are certain traits that determine an individual's natural aptitudes in various areas of athleticism. For some, this might manifest as an innate ability to sprint rapidly, thanks to fast twitch fibers that react more quicker than most. On the other hand, some might discover they have a heart and lung capacity that lends itself beautifully to endurance sports, allowing them to run or swim long distances without tiring as quickly as others. Then there are those who might surprise you with their ability to generate force, lifting heavier weights or leaping higher than you'd anticipate for their age and size. These athletes seem to have an edge, effortlessly outpacing their peers in certain exercises or drills, all thanks to the genetic lottery they've unknowingly won. However, as evident as these natural advantages might be, it's fundamental to understand that these genetic predispositions are merely the initial chapters in the athlete's story. While they provide a beneficial starting point, the entirety of an athlete's journey isn't written in these genes alone. Yes, they might have a head start, but the race is long and many factors come into play as they progress. The terrain shifts, challenges emerge, and solely relying on these inherited traits won't ensure success in the long run. Diving into the realm of nurture, we are essentially exploring the external factors that shape and mold an athlete. It's the ecosystem that surrounds the individual, the quality of training they receive, the environment they grow up in, the coaching methodologies they are exposed to, and the wealth of personal experiences that influence their mindset and approach. For those of us in the world of strength and conditioning, nurture is our primary arena. It's our responsibility to discern the individual characteristics of each athlete, to see beyond the raw genetic makeup and identify areas of potential as well as those that need intervention. Say for instance, an athlete doesn't naturally exhibit explosive power. Through targeted plyometric training, skill drills, and biomechanical feedback, we can enhance this facet of their performance. Furthermore, motivation and mental conditioning are pivotal components of nurturing an athlete. It's not just about physical transformation, it's about fostering a growth mindset, cultivating resilience, and instilling a value of perseverance. Athletes need to be mentally equipped to handle setbacks, adapt to challenges, and push past their perceived limits. However, it's imperative to understand that nature and nurture are not two distinct paths. They are more like the parallel tracks on which the journey of athletic development runs. While one's genetic makeup might provide a snapshot of potential, it's external factors such as training, mentorship, and experiences that amplify this potential and translate into tangible results. So, in the grand scheme of athletic achievement, both nature and nurture play crucial roles. The genetic gifts an athlete is born with might give them a leg up, but without the right nurturing environment, this advantage can easily stagnate. On the other hand, those who might not have been blessed with exceptional genetic traits can surpass their natural limitations with the right guidance, unwavering commitment, and an optimized training protocol. The blend of these two forces, in essence, shapes the trajectory of an athlete's journey. For those of us guiding young athletes, our role is multifaceted. We need to recognize and appreciate their innate abilities, but equally, we must emphasize the power of consistent training, perseverance, and adaptability. It's about striking a balance, ensuring that while we harness their genetic predispositions, we also cultivate a mindset of growth and continuous improvement.